Hello again, friends. I am here to finish up a little thing I promised at the end of my last video, which is me watching all the endings to episode 5 and reacting to all the possible outcomes. So, if you remember, I had the outcome where I attempted to cross into Mexico, myself and Daniel helped me cross, and then bailed at the last minute because apparently of his high morality rate. So apparently I raised a good kid who didn't want to be around me. So that's what we learned from that. So now we're going to watch the other possible outcomes here. This video that the fine folks at Square released with all the endings. So are you guys ready? Here we go. So this one is apparently called Redemption. If I surrender with high morality for Daniel. I was thinking last night after I finished, the other night after I finished recording, and
Sean, what are we gonna do?
about how they had several places where I feel like they were really encouraging you to surrender. Here, David kind of told you to do that. I feel like the police, all of this here with them telling Seattle, like it felt like they maybe needed to tilt things towards surrendering. At least I wouldn't be surprised if they did that on purpose, because they felt like most players are going to want to cross, because that's what we've been trying to do for like 5 episodes, is get to Mexico.
You know that day
So
in Seattle?
And I assume this is the same thing
Sean.
that we saw.
I think about it every day.
This is a good speech right here too.
And I would give anything to change what happened. But I can't. I'm sorry for my mistakes. I tried my best.
Anyway,
Sean,
I just know trying to balance out major choices when you're making these games.
Just like Dad would.
You test them with people and you find out, and if they found that like lots of people felt like they wanted to cross the border and they wanted to get more people to choose surrender,
they will separate.
then they might have added things to try to tip that balance a little bit.
Don't waste your power. Be smart, like you already are.
And it just felt like there were a lot more people who were suggesting to surrender than not, I think.
Whatever happens, always remember that you're Daniel Diaz.
I hate promises. I'll try.
I hate promises. Did you say that to me?
So, how does the story of the Wolf Brothers end?
The FBI is being awfully patient. Step out of the car. Okay, get out of the car. Come on, man, get out of the car.
I think their story ends right here.
Here? But I could... I get it. That's not who we are.
Exactly. We're not criminals. We're just
I was a
kids.
criminal.
And we still have time to choose what life we want to live. You're my brother. And I love you.
I love you too, Sean.
It's gonna be alright. I promise.
Yeah, those guys with guns are
Really?
being awfully patient.
How do you know?
Because
After you like trashed a police station,
we're doing the right
blew some stuff up.
Just Try and remember what I taught you. I mean, only the good shit.
I will.
Oh, that's sweet.
I swear.
Man, Gonzalo Martin, he really deserved that BAFTA award, I swear. That was good stuff. I could easily have picked this ending
On your knees!
yesterday
I said
for
on
sure.
your knees now!
He said knees, not necessarily face down on the ground, but okay.
I'm sorry about all this. We're gonna look after your brother. That's my
You
word.
don't know what's going to happen to him. I doubt the FBI handles Child
ready.
Protective Services.
Sean! No! Sean!
Oye. He's gonna be fine.
Daniel! You're not a little wolf anymore. Never forget who you are. Never.
You're a kid who blows stuff up. Blow it up. Okay. Maybe not. So what happens? So they pretty much guaranteed, they said they'll separate us. I assume that was, I mean, that's sort of the case in almost every outcome then, right? You'd need a, I don't know if I'm understanding the matrix of possibilities right. We'll see. You'll need a Daniel with low morality and decide to cross the border to actually get there. Okay, we saw some of these. He gets to see Sean in jail. Or wherever they are, I guess. I don't know why I read those windows as bars, but he's not in jail. He's living with his grandparents, hanging out with Chris. Oh, that's different. Why? Oh, so Sean is around to hear about this story and he draws a version of it? Uh-huh. Now he's grown up, graduated. I think we saw that one? We saw that one, right? And is that Daniel visiting David down in New Mexico? And Sean draws them, so Sean gets to see them periodically, it sounds like. But where is Sean? It's like a drawing of an older Daniel there. Daniel is a barista. Daniel moving out. 2033. "15 years later." Is this Sean getting out? Look at that Daniel. That's different than the one we saw. But he's older, right? This is 2033. I think the other one was like 2028 or something. So it seems like he was sort of like maybe just starting college, and this might be after college. Did they make her look a little older too? Oh boy. I mean, it's interesting to think that, like, there would have been a trial. They would have talked about everything that he did and why. It would have had a defense. Like, you don't get to see any of that. Like, what did he end up being accused of? And again, what did they do about Daniel's power? Like, I guess they have a little less direct proof. I mean, not really, but he tore up that police station. It just seems like the moment crossing the border really seals it as far as Daniel having a power. And so then they would be, I would assume the FBI would be really concerned about him and the power. But maybe here they kind of let it drop, or they, I don't know, if they come up with a story, or they just don't contest it much. And that was a nice moment, by the way, with the three of them outside the prison. They back in, oh no, this would be probably Oregon, I assume? Look at those two boys. Or is this the actual place that they were? I think it might be. In Washington. In episode 1. The river, the rock, yep. They gonna camp out under the rock, yep. Oh man, look at Daniel. Catching up on things. Aw, Sean. Man. It's a lot more powerful to see Sean than to just see those photographs of him that we saw. Now what's gonna happen? They splitting up? Sean going away. This is really interesting too, because they didn't really do this. They didn't do this in Life is Strange 1, where you really got to see a whole lot more after those final moments, right? Tell you? Did they? I'm trying to remember now what they told you about Max's future. He does still use his powers. Okay. That's the point of the final scene. They're driving opposite directions with this spot in the middle. Their shared experience. That was a nice ending. That was moving. There is a Lyla moment. I was really wondering. Felt like they had to do something with her. So I wonder if is this if you call her more often or talk to her more often than she's there. How cool is that? This is an interesting. I wonder if this is based off of a real prison. This exit. That's got to be real hard to see. To have Sean and Lyla together again 15 years later. She doesn't look like she's aged much, but... Although, I guess they kind of implied that people were visiting him, which I assume they'd be able to. Because he made the drawing of the bus, and there was the picture of the two of them. Oh, this is all kind of different. Lyla. Also very sweet. And does the rest of that play out the same way? Okay, so Lila's not involved in the rest of it. Okay, Lone Wolf.
So,
Ah.
how does the story of the Wolf brothers end?
So this should be interesting to see. What does low morality Daniel do?
I think their story ends right here.
But, no. No!
Daniel, come on.
So we went all this way? All that shit? For nothing? You told me we were going to Mexico. You said...
We're done. The end. It's not who we are.
Now it's my turn to take care of us, Sean. Nothing can stop the Wolf brothers.
What?
Daniel! No! Stop!
He's driving the truck.
Shoot! Shoot! Open fire!
Andy's gonna throw police cars out of the way. Oh. Not just that. Oh boy. Okay, so there's definitely a difference there too. I feel like they did not show cops just going flying.
Sean! You see that? Mexico, look! We made it! Sean?
Oh.
Sean!
Oh.
Oh no, no!
He didn't stop all the
no!
bullets?
Sean!
Okay, they made that more tragic than I was expecting.
Why? Why?
Oh, gee. Is this the future where Daniel goes like full on supervillain? Massacre on the Frontier. With the United States. Yeah, clearly Daniel was a lot more forceful in this version than he was in the version I had. Daniel's eating Choco Crisps, preparing his crime spree. Plaga de carteristas en Puerto Lobos, el turismo afectado. Tourism is affected by something. Daniel hanging out with the Mexican luchador? Wait, what? Blowing the crap out of a bank? Okay. Yamame. Inez. Two dead. Una pandilla. Local. Is that the cops finding them? Six years later. Daniel's practicing sketching. Okay, does the tear tattoo? Does the tear tattoo mean you spent time in jail, or that one of your homies was killed? And does that mean Sean, or does that mean his pal that he was robbing banks with, who I assume was a Mexican luchador? I really hope was. Oh, where's he going? A little shrine to Sean? Yep. Does he have a tattoo of Sean too on his heart? Oh, that's his eye patch, yeah. Hoodlum friends, or are these some guys who are harassing him? No, they look like they're harassing him. No, they're his friends. No, they're harassing him. Which is it? Oh. That's dark. Not as dark as it could be. Ah, but he's the lone wolf, right? So of course he doesn't have any buddies. The blonde hair is a nice touch just because it's showing, you know, the whole point here is how does Daniel, who is Daniel the man at the end of all of this? And so showing these physical differences. Okay, so this is the version I did, right? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the high morality trying to cross. So we can skip this. This is Daniel jumps out. And he ends up...
They make it to the other side.
What?
Sand in his hand.
You sure?
Trust me.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, so there's a... I think there's a version with Cassidy. Maybe even if we go back further. They go a little too far. We're not far enough. Yeah, there's a version that's just Sean. I think I saw this in the index. A version with Cassidy. And a version with Finn, which we saw. Okay, sorry to jump around a bunch. So Finn, you would have to help him escape from the jail or the hospital, and presumably have been pals with him or lovers with him earlier. All right, what is this version
Brothers
like?
End?
This is maybe the one where they both make it to Mexico. But who is Daniel in this case?
They make it to the other side. Be careful.
Oh, what is this? These are all very different. They could have just used that same, like, blasting through everything. This is Daniel faces down the world. Probably won't be pretty.
What the fuck? Shoot!
They're not shooting.
Fire!
What the fuck? What are you doing?
Dang. The ultimate show of his power, I guess. Could have done that from inside the car, but less chance of getting hit by a, stray bullet, which we know does happen.
We can go now.
That little Daniel look and then turn around and
Yeah.
leave, like,
Let's go.
reminded me of Darth Vader after Luke falls off to the bottom of Cloud City, and, and Darth Vader's sort of like, okay, what am I gonna do now? This ending focused a little bit more on the FBI agent. I can't remember her name. And seeing her specifically get tossed. Okay, what does life look like in Mexico? Is there any way they don't, like, send special forces down after them or something? Yes, they're in Puerto Lobos. Sean drawing local tourists, I guess. Daniel growing up. Playing video games, it looks like. Is that those just friends of theirs? Local friends? They have a kind of sketchy house. Well, maybe it's alright. The Wolf brothers. Looking a little bit like gangsters. Sean, those pants are riding a little low, dude. And the cops show up, sort of like last time. But do we know what happens? 2 dead. Margarita de una pedida loca. Huh. But they start a repair shop. So whatever the thing with the police was, they came out of it okay. Or, well, let's see it, did they? This could just be Sean? I assume it's both of them, though. And they didn't exactly become criminals, like we know to some degree Daniel by himself does. Or is this just Daniel? Is that grown-up Daniel? Looking through Sean's sketchbook. Does that mean Sean is not around? They've really left things ambiguous. No, he is. They were teasing us. Oh. Similar guys. Okay. Oh. Oh. Ouch. Interesting difference. The Sean with a white left eye and Sean with a black left eye. don't know how that happens, but clearly symbolic. Definitely living the sketch life there. They got a lot of money. Interesting. I mean, they equate crossing the border to Mexico with being... I mean, I guess we don't know that they're criminals. All that money was a little suspicious. Like you say, they're certainly living kind of sketchy life. Version of sort of the peaceful life in Puerto Lobos, it doesn't look like. But they're together. I guess when I said, hey, I want the two of them to make it to Mexico together, this was the best version of that. Stretch of beach to have all to yourself. Okay, well, final thoughts. I mean, I think what DONTNOD made is pretty extraordinary. I mentioned last time that, you know, by picking a totally different story with new characters, they really ensured that the universe of Life is Strange is potentially really broad, and I really like that. I also like that they made a story about brothers. Like, that's fundamentally different than Life is Strange 1. It's just a different core relationship. They made a game just as much more about, morality, I think. And I think overall it was pretty effective. I mean, I feel like in many ways there's so many subtle, choices you had to make, or so many choices you had to make about how to behave around Daniel throughout the story that it almost, it begs for there to be some really, subtle differences in the endings that I'm sure they just couldn't really do, What if I stole a lot of stuff but always encouraged him not to be violent, or, and what about encouraging him to use his power or to hide it was a big factor. I guess that was sort of a theme of one or two of the episodes, right? Of the Oregon episode in particular. So I guess that doesn't necessarily have to play into everything else later on. But it sort of boils down to high morality, low morality. It's too bad they couldn't get more granularity in there, but I totally understand why they can't. You can only have, you could only shoot so many endings, especially when they were so spectacular. Like, they were all pretty different from each other. A lot of new environments, the whole sequence with, what happens at the border, when Daniel uses his powers, like, there were different ways that played out, which is really impressive. Like, I think it's probably a very deliberate choice. Like I say, they could have essentially replayed the version of them him driving the truck and putting the shield in front of the truck and all of that. but they wanted to honor the differences between those outcomes with a significantly different cinematic there. So that's impressive, and definitely they put a lot of work into that. Believe me. Um, Good stuff. Good stuff. I think that that version with the two of them, Sean getting out of jail and them in the woods again, where they were in episode 1, is probably the most moving version. Um, yeah, that's quite something. Anyway, good stuff. Thank you all for being there with me on this whole journey. And as I said, I'm hoping to do playing some more games. I will definitely make a point of playing some stuff that I think many of you, if you follow me because of Life is Strange, many of you will enjoy. But I play a lot of different kinds of games, so you'll get to see quite a bit of different things. I think as I continue with some other Let's Plays. Again, some of them might be on Twitch right now. I'm sort of thinking I might uh, stream on Twitch and then post stuff to YouTube afterwards. I don't really want to like monitor two conversation threads or whatever. Maybe there's an art to that, but if we, if I were live on both fronts, so I'm gonna maybe at least try that to start. But let me know what you think, and definitely looking forward to sharing some more games with you guys. And again, let me know what you thought of all these endings. Comment down below. What endings did you guys get? I haven't heard that much on the on some of the comments on the last video, so let me know here. How did you go? Did anyone end up with a low morality, Daniel? Like, feels like you would have had to be pretty deliberate about that to end up there. But I guess I don't know where that threshold was. Anyway, good stuff. Thank you, Don't Nod. Nice work, everybody. I really look forward to whatever you guys make next. I know you've announced a couple of things that may be coming in the next couple of years, so those will be exciting. They all seem to be kind of Life is Strange adjacent, but maybe substantially different in some ways too. So that's cool. And as I said before, is there another Life is Strange game in our future? Boy, that would be great. We'll see. All right, everyone. Take care. Thanks for joining me, and we'll be talking to you soon.